Hello. Good evening. Good morning. Let's see. So I'm gonna give it a few moments to see if anybody is up at this hour. Good evening. Good morning. I'm gonna move closer because I don't know how much of this. Okay, since it's so late, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. And hello. I'm saying good evening. Good morning. I know. I never get on this late. But anyway, let me just get started because it's not going to be a long message. So, good evening, good morning. I am Phoenix Love of a Healers Haven Wellness Solution. I work with purpose driven leaders who heal, help, and serve others, but may be struggling with your own health, with stress, work life balance, relationships. And I provide holistic healing solutions as well as therapeutic interventions to help support you, guide, and help you to remain on purpose, healthy, and whole. I am the helper to the healer and the healer to the helper. So, yes, I am on here tonight very late, little midnight chat, just because, there's a lot going on, and I just wanted to jump on and talk a little bit about a strange topic, but hoarding. Um, and it's not what you think. I asked the question, are you an undercover hoarder? And most people are familiar with, hoarding or being a hoarder just from, I think, the popular TV show. I don't even know if it still comes on. Hoarders, and, they see these homes, they're in disarray. Just some of them, you can't even get into the house or the rooms. And it's a very debilitating condition. Okay, because I've worked with hoarders as a clinician, as a therapist, and it's basically it falls under the umbrella of obsessive compulsive disorder, but it also can be a symptom of someone that's very depressed or severely depressed or major depression, schizophrenia, and anxiety, generalized anxiety disorder. So it's not just its own disorder, but that's not technically what I want to talk about. When I talk about being an undercover hoarder, I'm talking more about someone that feels that they have to hold on to things, which is closely related to what hoarding is. But in the sense of, and this really comes from me having a conversation with one of my clients, and he said something very interesting to me, and I was like, "Ooh, okay, I never thought about that." But the statement was, and I'm paraphrasing, was that anything that's old, I don't know how to let go, or I don't want to let go of it. So that's from an emotional standpoint, that's relationships, that's things, items, objects, and that comes from someplace. So many of us walk around and we may not even know it. We may be unconscious about this, because it is coming from our subconscious mind, that we are holding on to things very tightly, and we don't want to let go of it. And again, it can be relationships, it can be emotions, it can even be bad habits, things that are not healthy for us. But we're holding on to it for a reason. And it's very important for us to know, and everybody's reason may be different, but to know that this is something that's going on within inside of us. And, to me, I thought about the show Hoarders, and I thought about just even people that I've worked with that had the hoarding condition. And to me, that's is not that different. So, hoarders, they tend to hold on to things. Sometimes it's animals, sometimes it's books, sometimes it's just everything. They don't throw away anything. So, this is where you see the accumulation of items and objects all over a home or a room or a car, to the point where it's unhealthy and unsanitary, and it presents itself in a way that a person cannot live in that type of condition. So guess what? That happens to us on the inside as well. When we are holding on to something very tightly and we're not letting go of it, whether it's an emotion or it's a toxic or a negative relationship, it's the same thing. Because guess what? What's happening? It's building up all of this negative energy, these toxins in our body, and it's very unhealthy for us. So it's undercover hoarding, and many of us may not even realize this is something that we're doing. So this is something I just want to give some thought to. Like, am I an undercover hoarder? Am I hoarding people? Am I hoarding? And when I say people, I'm saying like people that we know that we need to let go of, but we're holding on to them. And I want to give you this also to think about. Think about when you were a kid and you were playing that game tug of war, and you had to hold on to the rope really tightly, right? And it's pulling, and it's this tension going back and forth. Now, it comes to a point where somebody on one of the sides is going to have to let go, right? Or you're going to lose, or you're going to get pulled all the way in. So you know when it's almost crossed whatever that little barrier is, it is time to kind of give up a hold, but you're holding on anyway. And then when you let go, or someone wins, you look at your hands, and your hands could be very red and raw because you were holding on to that rope so tightly, right? So even like I have nails, long nails. So ladies that may be watching, if you have long nails and you go like this with your hands, and I'm looking at my hands now, I can see the imprints and I can see the red, right? And even if you do that, whether you have nails or not, you're a man and you're going like this. That's how we are with a lot of our bad habits, these negative emotions we're holding on, these negative thoughts, things that have happened to us in the past, experiences, people in our lives that are really not healthy and good for us. We are hoarding them, we are holding on to them. So think about when you're holding on to that rope, and you know it's time to let go, and then you open your hands, and your hands are sore and it's almost raw and it's hurting. And this is how you also can get calluses when you're holding on to something too tight. So that's what's happening on the inside of us. And when we do that, we are damaging ourselves. Okay? We are accumulating all of these toxins and these things that are unhealthy for us inside. And eventually, just like we've seen on, if you watch this hoarder show, the stuff starts to spill out even into the yard. So if you some of these episodes, you will look and you go to some of these homes, and they're going to try to help and do an intervention, and the hoarding has spilled out into even the yard. It's out the house because there's no place else for the things and the objects to go. Okay, this is what happens to us. And this is why, I've had a number of clients in the past, and people that I speak to that, talk to me and come to me for advice or counseling or services. And what they say, some of them, is I feel like a Coca-Cola bottle that's going to explode, right? Because the pressure has built up. There's too much going on the inside. And this is why I say, are you an undercover hoarder? And this is something you may want to examine. How am I feeling on the inside? How am I showing up every day? Okay. So I am going to be offering a free webinar on 10/9, October 9th, which is next Wednesday at 7:30. You do have to register. It's going to be Zoom video conferencing, because I am going to be touching on some of these points and different strategies and tips, and ways that you can address this, I want to call, hoarding of emotions, of negative habits, of toxic relationships. Because we get comfortable, unfortunately we get comfortable in our mess, right? And if you think about the hoarding, again, these people have grown comfortable in their mess to some degree, even though they know it's not healthy, but they're still in it. So this is something we have to think about. Like, is this what's going on with me right now? Am I comfortable in my mess? Am I constantly collecting more and more negative things into my life, even though I know it's unhealthy for me? So this is just a few things that we're going to talk about, and learning tips, learning strategies, but also the cause and effect of stress and anxiety and depression, and how can we show up as the best version of us despite everything that may be going on around us in our environments. How can we set those boundaries that we need to set in our relationships so that we can show up and be healthy and be able to engage and interact and cultivate healthy relationships? Okay, so again, this free webinar is going to be on October 9th, and it's going to be via Zoom video conferencing, and it's 7:30 p.m. And you do have to register. I will drop the registration um, link in the comment section. One of the things that everyone's going to be able to walk away with also is a mini stress busting plan. So it's a plan. You're going to be able to have like a checklist, because again, this is all about really examining what's going on with me. Not only am I showing up every day, I've got a smile on my face, I'm putting my mask on, but what's really going on the inside. Okay? And this webinar again is free, it's no cost. It's really about giving you those tips, those strategies, things that's going to help you to be the best version of you. So thanks for tuning in on the midnight chat. Again, I didn't know who was going to show up this late or this early, depending on how you're looking at it. But I will drop the information in the link. And if you have any questions about the webinar is actually titled, How to Stay Sane in an Insane World. So it's 7 strategies to peace of mind and a peaceful spirit. Okay? Because this is what we have to have. And we have to know what those tools are to use to be able to have a peace of mind, in this world that everything is going, seem like it's going crazier every single day. But we don't have to go crazy, right? We don't have to settle for less. We don't have to be an undercover hoarder. Again, may not even know that this is something that you're doing, but this is part of why I'm doing this webinar, because I want for you to be able to look at things through different eyes and through a different perspective, and have an understanding of, okay, this is something that I'm feeling, this is something that I'm experiencing, and I never even thought about it being something that could be very damaging to me. Okay, so hopefully you can join us. Free webinar next Wednesday, October 9th, 7:30 p.m., and I will drop the link in the comment section. All right, have a great evening or a great day. Good morning, everyone. Have a blessed one.